My name is Alicia. In this video, I'm going to talk about the differences between present perfect tense and past perfect tense. Let's get started. Okay, first I want to talk about present perfect tense. We're going to look at two uses of this grammar point. First, we use present perfect tense to express an action or a condition that happened at some time in the past. So this is a non-specific action, yeah? If we imagine this on a timeline, it might look like this. So here's the timeline we're going to use for this lesson. We have the past, and the present, and the future here, yeah? If we imagine this use of present perfect, which we use for life experience, like travel experience or job experience, it might look like this. So I have in blue dots here all of this space before the present, and a question mark here too. So this question mark refers to not knowing or it not being important when an action happened, yeah? So this is the first use of present perfect tense, to talk about something that happened just sometime in the past. When is not important or we don't know. Now let's look at the second use of present perfect. We use this to express an action that started in the past and continues to the present, or the effects of the action continue to the present. So what does this look like on a timeline? Here in red is this use of present perfect. So we mark the start point here with this check. And then the wavy line shows the action is continuing. This continues to the present. So this type of present perfect is used to show things that started sometime in the past and that are still true now, or they're continuing now. Okay? So let's look at how we create present perfect tense, and then we'll take a look at some example sentences and break them down. So first, with present perfect tense, you need to think about your subject. If your subject is I, you, we, or they, we follow it with have. To make the sentence negative, not goes in this position, and then we follow this with a past participle verb. If the subject of the sentence is he, she, or it, we follow it with has. Again, not is in this position after has. And again, we end with the past participle verb form. To make a present perfect continuous structure, we use been in the past participle verb form and follow it with a continuous verb. So you can think of replacing this part, past participle verb, with been, which is the past participle form of be, and follow it with the ing form of a verb. Okay? So let's take a look at some example sentences and break down what's happening here. First sentence. I have been to France. I have been to France. Here my subject is I. We follow with have. Past participle verb is been. So be becomes been. I have been to France. This sentence reflects use number 1 of present perfect tense. So the speaker here is talking about general life experience. I have been to France. When? It's not important. Or maybe they don't remember. They were very young. But they just want to express that life experience. I have been to France sometime before now. That's use number 1 of present perfect. Let's look at another example. She has not finished her homework. She has not finished her homework. Here we have a negative. So this sentence is she, followed by has. In this case, the negative, she has not. Past participle verb is finished. She has not finished her homework. So this sentence shows a negative condition or a negative experience, something that is not true. In this case, she has not finished her homework at any time before the present. She has not finished her homework. You might also see a sentence like this with yet at the end. She has not finished her homework yet. That shows we expect she's going to finish her homework, but it has not happened yet. So this expresses that lack of life experience, no experience in this case. In this case, not being finished with homework. Okay, she has not finished her homework. All right, let's look at the next example sentence. We have worked here for 5 years. We have worked here for 5 years. It follows this pattern. We have worked here for 5 years. This sentence includes this 4 or 5 years point. So 4 or 5 years, or you might also see a since point in time structure, helps us to know that it's talking about a continuing action or a continuing condition. That's use number 2 of present perfect. We have worked here for 5 years. This shows us 5 years ago was the start point for the action. And then the action continued to the present. We have worked here for 5 years. A common question about a sentence like this is, can I use the continuous form here? Like, we have been working here for 5 years? Yes. There are some verbs that are okay to use in this form and in the continuous form. Some very common examples are live and work. So this sentence would be okay in continuous as well. We have worked here for 5 years. So this shows our continuing action and the length of time the action has continued. Okay, let's look at one more example sentence then. They have not been sleeping well. They have not been sleeping well. Here we have a negative and a continuous form. So they have not been sleeping well. What does this mean? So this means starting from some point in the past, we don't know exactly when. Maybe they have not been sleeping well recently, or they have not been sleeping well lately, would be common. This condition, not sleeping well, has continued for some period of time. They have not been sleeping well. So we use present perfect in these 2 ways, to talk about general life experience or no life experience, and to talk about actions and conditions that started in the past and continue to the present. So with this in mind, let's look now at past perfect tense and see how we use this one. Again, I want to talk about 2 uses of past perfect here. So the first one, we use past perfect to express an action or condition that happened before another past action. So that means we use past perfect to show the sequence of past actions, one action happening before another action. We use past perfect to help us do this. On a timeline, we can imagine it like this. Here's our past, present, and future. Use number 1 is here in blue. So we use past perfect to represent action 1 in this situation. Action 1 happens, action 2 happens. So we want to talk about 2 past tense actions. We describe the first action or condition with past perfect tense. We use simple past tense for the second action. We'll see an example sentence that shows us this later. Okay, now let's look at the second use here. This is in continuous, in past perfect continuous. So we use past perfect continuous to express an action or condition that started in the past and continued until another past action changed or interrupted it. So what does this mean? Until another past action changed or interrupted it. Let's look at this on the timeline. Again, we have action 1 and action 2 here. So with this use, action 1 started here at the checkpoint. This is where action 1 started. The wavy line shows the action continued in the past. Then action 2 happened. Something caused action 1 to stop, or maybe it caused action 2 to change in some way. So we use simple past tense for action 2. Action 1 expresses the continuing past action. Action 2 expresses the change. So again, we'll see an example sentence of this in just a moment. All right, let's quickly refresh our minds on how to make this grammar, and then we'll go to our example sentences. With this grammar, we don't need to worry about different subjects like I, you, and he, and she. We can just use subject plus had. To make it negative, we use not in this position, and then we end with a past participle verb. To create the continuous or progressive form of this grammar, we use been in this position and follow with an ing verb, the continuous form of the verb. So let's take a look at some example sentences and break down what's happening. First one, I had been to France by the time I graduated from college. I had been to France by the time I graduated from college. So what are the two actions in this sentence? First, I had been to France. So here is my past perfect action. I had been. In this case, been is my past participle verb. I had been to France. And the second action, by the time I graduated, here's my past tense verb. By the time I graduated from college, simple past tense. So this sentence shows us two situations, two past situations or actions. I had been to France, so going to France happened first, and then going to college happened second. So we show this sequence with our grammar. Past perfect first, simple past second. Let's look at another example. She hadn't finished her homework yet, but her friends came over. She hadn't finished her homework yet, but her friends came over anyway, maybe, as kids do. So what's happening in this sentence? Here we have a negative. I've used the reduced form. Had not becomes hadn't. I've reduced it here. She hadn't finished her homework yet. That's one, action one, or condition one. And second, but her friends came over. So came over here is in simple past tense. Her friends came over. So there's my first condition, not being finished with homework. She hadn't finished her homework yet, but her friends came over anyway. So we show the sequence of actions with this grammar point. Okay, lastly, let's take a look at some sentences that use past perfect continuous. Let's see how we use this. First, we had been working in silence for 2 hours when the phone rang. We had been working in silence for 2 hours when the phone rang. So what are the two actions or conditions here? First, we had been working. So I have this been working continuous structure. We had been working, that's one. And the phone rang. Here's my past tense verb. So ring becomes rang in simple past tense, right? So this sentence shows us, if we use to here, action one, working in silence. So here's my condition. Working in silence was action number one or condition number one. And then my past tense action happened. The phone rang. So in this case, I want to describe the change in condition. Working in silence for a long time, in this case, 2 hours, and then the phone rings to stop the silence, right? We mark that with simple past tense. So we use this continuous followed by simple past tense structure to communicate this. Okay, let's look at one more example. He had not been sleeping well for weeks, so he went to the doctor. He had not been sleeping well for weeks, so he went to the doctor. So in this case, we have a negative here. He had not been sleeping well for weeks. So here's where the condition starts. So in this case, not sleeping well. This condition continued for weeks. So he went to the doctor. Simple past tense action which marks a change in the condition. So we use past perfect continuous for the first one and simple past tense again for the second action. So you can kind of see a theme, I hope. We use past perfect together with simple past tense to show a sequence of actions. One action happening before another, where there's just two things in a row, or one action that continued and was stopped. So we use past perfect to do this. We use present perfect to talk about our general life experience and to talk about things that started in the past and continue to the present, as well as continuing beyond, perhaps. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon.